Hi, this is Alexander Marquez with another powerful video that's going to help you reach the success you want. And on today's video, I want to talk about what stops people from achieving their goals and dreams. And there's several factors that stop people from moving forward with what they want to achieve in life. And sadly, a lot of people give in to these factors, and that's why they just can't push forward. They can't defeat the barriers that hold them back. But what are these barriers? Well, in my opinion, the number one barrier that stops people from achieving their goals is their mindset. I always start with mindset because, in my opinion, if your mindset just isn't right, you're not going to be able to achieve anything. It's like trying to plant a tree on soil that's just simply not fertile. Everything else could be right. You can plant the seed, you can water the seed, you can do everything absolutely right. But if you're trying to plant that tree on ground that does not have the conditions that will allow for that tree to grow, you're simply wasting your time. So if you're trying to place seeds of knowledge into a mind that's not right, it doesn't really matter because nothing is going to be produced. So it all starts with your mindset. You have to be willing to shift your mindset and get that area right, or nothing else is going to work. You can take all the actions in the world that are required to fulfill your goals, but if your mind isn't right, you're going to be doomed to failure. That is why whenever people have problems, I always wonder what kind of information they're reading, what books they're reading, what are they listening to, what are they watching, because a lot of times that will determine why they're having problems, because their mindset is just off. And so when your mindset's off, every little problem all of a sudden becomes big, because your mindset has become so small that everything looks big to you. When people have a bigger mindset, then these problems that normally defeat others become relatively small because their mindsets have been expanded. So I say you begin with a regular program of personal development. Make sure you're reading books on mindset. Make sure you're reading books that improve your skill, because by improving your skill, you also improve your mindset because you become more confident. You see, the more knowledge you acquire, the more confidence you gain, because when you know a lot, it just naturally raises your self-esteem. So mindset is the number one thing that stops people. The next thing that stops people is their fears. It's pretty sad, but most people will go through their entire lives without confronting their fears. And what kind of fears paralyze people from achieving the success they want? Well, there's a few fears that I'm going to identify here. The first fear is the fear of what their family thinks. You see, we're naturally tribal individuals. We care a lot. In many cases, the most important thing we care about is what our family thinks of us. So maybe we're trying to please our parents. Maybe we're trying to please our siblings, our spouse, our children. So because we have such a strong emotional connection to family, many times when we want to achieve a certain goal, because they don't understand our goals and they'll give us their opinion, and because we value their opinion, many people quickly get discouraged and they stop themselves from taking action because their family doesn't approve of what they're going to do. So if you want to achieve the next level, as harsh as it may sound, you simply have to stop caring what your family thinks of you. I mean, I'm not saying to become irresponsible, like if you have responsibilities, but what I mean is that you can't let it stop you. You have to have a balanced outlook when it comes to this. You can't just straight stop just because your family doesn't approve of it. You have to understand that a lot of times their opinion is based on limited knowledge, is based on limited information. So you have to be very careful not to really trust their viewpoint because they simply don't have the information that you have. So that's where you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe you're doing the right thing, and you just have to go for it, even at the risk of many times having some kind of conflict with family, because that is the price that you have to pay a lot of times to achieve what you want to achieve in life. So that's the number one fear, is fear of family. The second fear is the fear of what friends think. You see, generally speaking, most of us want to be liked. We want to be popular. We want to have a lot of friends. I mean, this is just the nature of human beings. We are not really conditioned to be alone. We want to have friends. We want to be popular. But a lot of people, because of their addiction to popularity, they're going to be doomed to remain broke and to remain without achieving their goals. Because if you care too much what your friends think, if your friends' thinking is not aligned with what you want to achieve in your life, then wanting to be popular is a pretty illogical way to operate. Because in many cases, you see this amazing opportunity before you, but then you have all these friends that do not see it the same way. You have all these friends that do not have the same ambition, and you're going to let these people stop you from doing what you have to do? To me, when you examine it this way, it seems pretty silly that you're willing to sacrifice your goals because you want to be popular. I say you go for it. If you have to sacrifice friendships, that's fine, because if going after your goals means you lose friends, then they were never your friends to begin with, and along the way to success, you're going to build new friendships with people that are more aligned with your vision of the world. So that's another fear that you cannot let stop you. What is the next fear? The next fear is the fear of failure. People are just afraid to fail, and because they're afraid to fail, they never make the first attempt. This fear is completely irrational, and I'm going to prove it to you, because just think about it. When you first started to want to ride a bike, would you say that the experience, for the most part, was a perfect experience? Or would you say that you fell repeatedly until you learned how to ride that bike? You see, in order to ride that bike, you had to fall over and over and over until you were able to ride that bike. And the same thing goes to any other goal that you have in life. You have to fail. It's through failure that you become a master at whatever you want to do. You have to fail over and over and over, because that is how you learn. That is how you learn what doesn't work. You know, there's a story about Thomas Edison failing thousands of times, and then when he was asked, why do you continue to want to work on your on your invention if you failed thousands of times? And according to the story, his response was, I didn't fail thousands of times. What happened is that I discovered thousands of different ways that it doesn't work. So that is the mindset that you need to have. It's not that you're failing, it's that you're discovering what doesn't work, and you're perfecting your skills, and you're learning exactly what works. So that's why you cannot let failure stop you. The next fear is the fear of rejection. And this, of course, stops a lot of people from, especially, it makes them fail in business, because in business you have to be good in sales. And a lot of people are terrified of sales because they're terrified of rejection. They're terrified of trying to sell some kind of product or service and getting a lot of no's. You know, getting a lot of no's all day long is something that people are just terrified of. But it's a ridiculous way to think, because in order to get a yes, you're going to have to go through some no's. The world is not perfect where everyone you offer something, even if it's the best thing in the world, some people are always going to say no, because what you offer is not perfect for everyone. You're simply looking for a percentage of the people that are looking for what you have to offer. So you're going to get a lot of rejection. You just have to get it in your mind that rejection is normal. Rejection is part of the process of success. You're going to get rejected all day long, You have to go through this rejection because this is what's going to give you mental toughness. You have to become extremely tough. You have to become completely free from the effects of rejection. And once you're able to do this, you will become unstoppable because you will just talk to everyone or do whatever it takes because you couldn't care less about getting rejected. So it goes back to the same principle of just not caring what people think and just going for it. You just got to remember that the people that reject you, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting whatever you're offering. It's not a personal thing. For the most part, they don't know you. So how could they reject you if they don't know you? They're rejecting the product you offer because perhaps they're just not the right people. You can't afford to take it personal. That's another fear. And to end this video, the conclusion is that at the end of the day, we simply stop ourselves. Because we can't become victims and start to blame others. We can't blame our family. We can't blame our friends. We can't blame the people that are rejecting us. We can't blame the fear of failure. At the end of the day, we need to stop making excuses. We need to take personal responsibility because we are in control. We are the ones that give in to these fears. We are the ones that give in to these excuses. Unless we reach the point where we take 100% responsibility for our lives, where we get to the point where we stop blaming others, blaming things, blaming circumstances, unless we get to that point of 100% personal responsibility, we're never going to get to the level we want to reach. It's us that are stopping us. No one else is stopping us but us. We make the decision to move forward despite our fears. We are always in control. Like a philosopher said, we have to get out of our own way. We are standing in our own way. We have to remove ourselves and move forward. That's the kind of power we have when we uncover our true potential. So I hope this video was helpful. My name is Alexander Marquez. I want to challenge you to visit my blog at alexandermarquez.net and click on the 2 links that are below this video. If you're watching on YouTube, the first link takes you to my blog. The second link takes you to my free ebooks and newsletter where I'm going to show you exactly how to design the life you desire. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll see you on my next video. Take care.